What is everybody? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports news here at Esports Talk. The Call of Duty World League, or the Call of Duty League, whatever you want to call the franchise for 2020, has now expanded, and so far of the 12 teams that we expect to be there in Season 1, we have 9 now solidified with 2 new teams being announced, and those 2 new teams have shaken some things up for the rest of the crowd. First of all, Misfits, they land the Florida spot. Alongside that, our second LA team, it will be Kroenke Sports, which is pretty interesting. We'll talk about that topic here in a second. First of all, I must say, especially for any CSGO fans out there, Misfits have made some trials, have gone through trials, I should say, have made some extreme triumphs. They are not a part of the CSGO scene, but they continue these franchise spots. If you guys don't know the Florida Mayhem, they also have their LEC team as well for League of Legends, and now this guy's a third franchise spot for Misfits. And as a CSGO fan, I've always thought, once they left the CSGO scene, that organization was dead. They have had a great last 2 years, I should say, so far through other franchises, and they have now decided not to go back to CSGO or other esports, but to go for a third franchise spot for the CWL, and congratulations for them landing that Florida spot. Now, even more interesting though is we could have LA being completely full, as Kroenke Sports have now grabbed that second spot. Also, of course, Optic are moving to LA as well under their new their umbrella of MIBR, or the Mortals Gaming Club, whatever you want to call them. But it's very weird because they were in competition with a few other organizations, Gen G, FaZe Clan, 100Thieves, amongst a lot of the names out there who could have been announced as the second LA spot, but it went to Kroenke. We see again a focus about this. I've talked to Misery in my Discord about this as well. A sheer focus so far of the 9 of 12 teams being announced for the Call of Duty Franchise League. Many of them are already holding other franchise spots, specifically that of the Overwatch League. So Kroenke Sports, compared to Gen G, 100Thieves, FaZe Clan, they had their LA Gladiators, and so that supposedly is what actually carried it over as to why they were selected for the LA spot. It seems the CWL has a focus on other franchise holders, and yeah, they made it pretty obvious. But it's very interesting to me because we had the debate here on this show of who's going to get chosen, right? Because those other 3 organizations, Gen G, FaZe, 100Thieves, they have history inside the Call of Duty scene, especially when you look at Nadeshot making 100Thieves. He is certainly one of the COD fathers, I would say. I just said that out loud, and I almost regret that. But you guys know what I mean, especially when it comes to a FaZe Clan. Their roster, 100Thieves, of course, one of the better rosters in Call of Duty of 2019. FaZe Clan, now all of their players coming back from being on loan to other teams, you realize how extensive their COD roster really is. It's very weird to see. And then Gen G at some point in time was also a top team. Their last event, COD Champs, did not go over too well, but certainly some very solid rosters and organizations in Call of Duty history. It would be weird to not see them have some sort of spot, and especially now with LA. Of the 9 spots announced so far, LA has 2 of them. It's hard to see a third LA spot being dropped, so the question now does become, does Gen G, 100Thieves, FaZe Clan, do they buy a spot, or even if they do they move to a separate city? Because when it comes time for HQs and facilities, all of them have LA-based facilities or HQs as well, and so it's kind of weird to see where this will go in the future, especially when you add on top of that the fact that Nadeshot has now talked cautiously of the franchise possibly impacting his brand, and so a lot of people out there are questioning, will these teams actually even want a CWL spot? When you would think a guy like Nadeshot would need one, he seems pretty focused on the importance of the brand he wants to continue, and maybe not in the Call of Duty scene competitively.
Has a lot of positives, and the way that Activision and Blizzard are handling team branding is definitely a concern of mine. For 100Thieves, we're very much focused on 100Thieves,
right,
and we're building a brand beyond just gaming, and so that's definitely been one of the reservations in my mind, in the hump that I'm trying to get over, because we'd have to build out an entirely different asset and a different brand.
And whenever he says brand, you also think of teams like FaZe Clan, right? 100Thieves and FaZe Clan are very strong branded organizations. They do very well when it comes to merch, especially that of 100Thieves, the best in the game when it comes to esports. And so do they need a future in Call of Duty? Maybe not, but should they be in the future of Call of Duty? I think a lot of us can agree it would be weird to not see one of those teams or those organizations actually have a spot in the future Call of Duty World League or franchise, especially if they're going to expand to eventually 28 teams. Is FaZe and 100Thieves not going to get in now? They'll pay a more expensive price later on to get back in when it goes to 28 teams. It's a very, very weird debate. And on top of that, you go to Gen G for all you fans out there as well. They already have facilities, I believe, in Seoul as well as in LA. And so do you build a brand new facility in a new city that you want to, of course, then buy a $25 to $30 million spot for? I don't know. That could be spreading Gen G a bit too far and thin. It's just so weird to see now we have a second LA spot to to a guy in Kroenke I did not expect to land that spot, but now it does make sense because if you have an Overwatch League spot, apparently your sway power is a bit heavier than that of other organizations out there. So I ask you guys the question, of those 3 remaining teams, 100T, FaZe Clan, Gen G, do you guys think they land a spot in the Call of Duty World League? Do you guys think they put forth the cash to get that spot? And if so, where will they be based? Will it be in LA, or will it be in a separate city altogether, or will they enter the league at all? Because we've heard Nadeshot obviously talk cautiously about it. We've heard FaZe Banks, although he's probably not the ultimate power to decide whether or not they do go into it. We've heard Banks say it's ridiculous to have a franchise in the first place, let alone the paying price of that as well. It's crazy to see all of these teams getting involved, you know, kind of nitpicking where they want to get placed. You know, Misfits going to Call of Duty the World League, but not going to CSGO, and then 100T maybe deciding to stay away from it to push their brand even further. The questions in my head right now, it makes my head hurt. But either way, guys, 9 of 12 teams supposedly have now been confirmed. At least their cities have been, and it's super exciting to see this actually come to fruition slowly but surely. Of course, Call of Duty has now announced their official franchise rules and information as well. On top of that, if you guys want a video breaking that down, please leave a comment or a like down below, and I'll break those down as well, as the franchise has now actually come to Reddit to confirm all of the information out there about their rosters, about the path to pro, and so much more. As always, my name is Jake, breaking down esports and other news out there all day long. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.